Hey everybody, welcome to another World of Tanks replay, and thanks to Desua for fixing up my XVM config. The colours are a little skewy, I gotta go back and change that, but at least now my win rates are showing up properly. Anyway, here's a match from Rothmog in the T-54 Model 1. Now I did actually record some gameplay from the test server in this. I don't think I ever uploaded it. I can't remember why, but this will probably end up being the first you hear about it on this channel as a result. So the T-54 Model 1 is basically the sort of bridge between the T-44 and the T-54. It has the hull armor scheme of a T-54, but a very similar turret to the T-44. Now, this tank's a bit of an interesting one, because while it has really good armor for a tier 8 medium, it has really bad mobility for a medium, and its gun handling is rather unimpressive. So this makes it a bit odd. It can really perform well in tier 8 matches, because it's almost more like a heavy than a medium, but in a tier 10 match you're going to be hard pressed to be flanking anything. The gun is a version of the D10T, the fabled idiot gun. It gets 250 alpha, 175 pen with AP, and 235 pen with APCR. So the gun's performance is quite similar to that of the T-44, but the handling is noticeably worse. This thing's top speed, from memory, is, I think, about 35 or 40 kilometers an hour on a flat. It's not very fast at all, and you'll notice that when Rothmog's driving around. Unless he's driving downhill, he isn't generally going very quickly. And that leaves the T-54 Model 1 in a rather precarious position when it's out-tiered, because it just doesn't have the mobility that a medium tank requires to flank some of the faster heavies. And so it's forced to frontally engage. Now, while it does have a better chance of standing up in a frontal engagement against a heavy tank than, say, T-44 or, say, perhaps even a Type 59, it still isn't going to be enough against tier 9s and 10s. So I'm kind of in two minds about this tank. On the one hand, in a tier 8 game, it is quite strong. It can be a good crew trainer for the Soviet medium crews, and they do lack really any good high-tier training tank for medium crews. They do have the Matilda at low tiers, but sometimes you want to play a high-tier premium instead. But at the same time, it's not enough of a medium, I think. It's more like a heavy. Now, importantly, it does have medium hit points. It only has 1300 hit points, which is comparable to the Type 59 and the T-44. So while you do have decent armor for a tier 8 medium, if that armor gets punched through, you're still going to die just as quickly. You can see here just how good this tank is at bullying lower tiers, although that VK3002 did have the absolute worst possible gun there. The 88 on that thing is just not good. Enemy SU-100 is inexplicably firing HE at a medium tank. He switches to AP, but the damage has already been done, or actually it hasn't been done, and that's the problem. And it runs away as Rothmog knocks most of its hit points off. Now, do pay close attention to the gun's handling here. This is, I think, one of the bigger problems with the tank. Now, having poor mobility by medium tank standards is one thing. It's almost forgivable, because you do trade it for some pretty decent armor. The big problem is that not only do you have that bad mobility, you also have a very inaccurate, slow-aiming gun, which makes this tank not particularly good at long-range engagements. You have to get close in this thing, and because you lack the pen, you have to flank things, but you don't have the speed or the agility to flank things. So when I played this on the test server, I actually kind of hated it. I got decent results and I couldn't argue with the results I got, but the problem was it just wasn't that fun to play, or at least it didn't feel like it to me. It felt like a chore, which is, you know, more in line with how I feel about heavy tanks and mediums. Ultimately, I probably will pick one up at some point just because I've got to catch them all, and it's quite a nice looking tank, even if it isn't one that plays very much towards my style. But for now, I'm going to give it a miss, and maybe wait and see what happens with it. Either way, for all its faults, it is obviously very capable of some impressive feats, especially when it ends up at the top of the matchmaking. And so I can't really fault it on that. At the end of the day though, I actually wish Wargaming had gone ahead and included the T-54-85, because that thing was just disgusting. While it lacked pen and, you know, lacked armor as well, the T-44-85 was just a monster of a thing. Incredible speed and agility, and a very good gun. Either way, Rothmog had a pretty decent match here. Ended up with nearly 4k damage, 5 kills, and he only took a couple hits. In fact, 2 of the 3 damaging hits he took were from a light tank with a high pen gun, while the other hit was an HE splash from the SU-100. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm hoping maybe I can get some more footage of this tank up at some point, either via other people or from playing on test. Obviously playing on test is a little difficult for me because of the whole internet situation, but I do what I can. But in the meantime, if you're looking for basically another T-44 or a T-54 or a Type 59, you know, a good mobile sort of flanking tank that allows you to get around people and just smack them, this isn't it. This is not a flanking tank by any stretch of the imagination. This is more of a shit brick. So if that's more your speed, if you're a fan of heavily armoured mediums and you don't really feel so off-put, or so put off rather, fucking words, by a lack of mobility and slower speed and, you know, maybe not the best gun handling, it's worth checking this thing out. Of course, you can always play it on the test server when that comes up before you actually buy it, just to get a good feel for it and decide whether you're interested or not. As ever, I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you on the next video.